But at least I know one part of it. But anyway, big tangent.
I think it's the effort which counts the hysterics. I think you really do well on that. Going to these bans, though, importantly, we have some really... well, you see the Samira on the red side bans there. That is one of Abel's real specialties. In their last series, actually only picked up a career 4th loss on that champion. Is now something like 9-4 all time in OMG's last series, but it got really, really close. Whereas on the other side, Lian has been one of the really good Vibe players, one of the best Vibe players in the LPL, and has used that to lead his team to real success by being an initiator. Now you're removing that. We know that Lian really needs that initiation from the jungle. We already talked about how Rare-Atom, when they've gone away from their comfort style, they get a bit excited to do these Rare-Atoms. They need to have something to fall back to, because they don't look like the same team. They've also had the Varus removed from them. OMG, we know them to be a very strong, innovative drafting team. I'm liking their start to this, to remove comfort.
And again, just a note for everyone out there, like, you'll be seeing Samira in 13.1 and any patch really, and just being like, why? OMG always get a banned against them majority of the time. It was let through recently, but Abel actually still lost that game, but that was because OMG decided to 4v5, but still, it is a must ban, which means you leave other things open. You know, we're talking about some of these comfort picks coming through with Southwind getting Ashe this time around, the Wukong for Luyen, but on the other side, what is Arky going to pick? Because Nightmare, you're excited for this game because there are really unique pocket picks that should be making their way to the surface.
Well, this is Luyen's first Wukong game of the split, which is a takeaway from Arky as well. This is great. This Yone is part of what we were talking about when the player intros came out. OMG, they're starting to specialize in this engage on you a full screen away kind of composition, but they have a Marikael, they twin it up with the Yone. I would actually be looking at banning away Rumble right now as Rare-Atom. You have 2 immobile AD carries in that bot side, the Ashe supported in the Sivir. If you get caught up in Marikael or a Varusol into a Yone and then something like a Rumble, which is Shanji's specialty pick in that top side, you are toast. Already, I'm really liking what OMG have put together in terms of playing towards their own identity. On the other side, although these aren't the premier picks which Rare-Atom have used to play their style, they still have stable, pushing early bot with some kind of late game insurance from Asum on what looks like to be the Sivir, and then Lian on the initiator from the jungle, despite it not being the Vi, it's the Wukong instead. Both of these teams, I love this, are playing towards what has seen them success so far this split.
And again, you know, partnering it up, it seems like they're setting up for a strong 2v2 already, getting rid of the Heimerdinger on the other side. So making sure they have some of that priority in the lane we talk about. Where Cube, something stable for the top side too, is worth mentioning here with the Cassante picked up. OMG, now the biggest question is going to be, what support do they launch into PP God? He's played things like the Renata as well, which even with the Varus is not too bad. So anything could really come out here as, yeah, Sion is also just kicking ass in the LPL.
So, hasn't it only, like, lost the one game or something you were saying in our very last series?
And you know what? That was breathed from RNG. Trying to name it.
Crazy. So Shanji picks up the Sion. We have talked about this a little earlier in the day as well, just kind of keeping track of things. Sion is good into Cassante. Cassante needs too much help to shut down that lane. And when you want to be putting pressure on bot side, that doesn't always come easily. So OMG, they still have a lot of long-range engage. The Sion can help with that. It's not going to be the Rumble, which we have kind of talked about as being a Shanji pocket thing. But the Sion, he can just charge straight into your face and make things, again, a little bit awkward on the engage. If Cream gets shut down in this game, though, you're lacking damage from OMG. So when you have a Wukong, you pair it up with something aggressive in the mid lane, and you can potentially shut down that Yone. Rare-Atom, they've done this a little bit before. They played through a bit more of a stable bot, but they can play through a little bit more aggressiveness in the mid-jungle. I think Rare-Atom have got some ways to make OMG sweat this early game with the Ahri locked in. Of course, my specialty champion, very much love talking about that. And it has a pretty fun matchup into the Yone too. Oh, yeah, you've never heard of that before? Never heard of me liking the Ahri pick? No, crazy.
No. You and someone else in the LEC, you know, really obsessed with certain champions in the mid lane, but I know Ahri being yours, you're going to tell me a lot about that matchup. I am more curious, though, as to OMG, how they play this out, right? Because you talk about the early game and RA being able to play through mid-jungle and make them sweat, but on the other side for OMG, you have Enchanter with double heavy frontline. Like, I mean, Arky's probably going to go AP, right? We know they need AP threat, but that team is just going to be so abusive as the game goes on.
They do, however, need to have a kind of safe entry into objectives if you are walking through enemy vision into a Wukong, into a Ashol, with the Ori popping over walls as well. You don't really get to see this composition. So for me, if early game lanes go well enough for OMG, their objective setup pretty terrifying. Adam, do you have the tools to stop them from getting to that point though? So some importance on early game. If it's a quiet early game, that favors OMG. If it gets a little bit more active, expect Adam to have the tools to make things a little more complex for OMG, who have picked up a very iconic composition for themselves, or at least similar to ones they played before in this split.
Well, let's see how they go as we get into OMG RA, our second series of the night. Both these teams in more precarious positions. I say that because they're kind of in the upper echelon, right? 2-2 for OMG. We talked about RA actually on 3-2. For OMG, all they need to do is find this win here to not only equalize, but jump up to the likes of teams like WE, TT as well. That top 10 would be a bit of a security for them right now. But getting through RA, that's the next big thing as they look to show themselves up again. We talked about identity and how unique they are. OMG, one of the most unique teams in the LPL, just simply by draft. You saw it with the ban at the starters. Oh, we are getting Jayos. Doing BJO, hell yeah. Yeah, merits to that person in the crowd. Doing BJO, what an absolute legend.
Conspicuously missing from this split, taking a split off.
Well, I mean, let's be real. He's having a child.
Yes, exactly.
If I was having a kid and I did an LPL split, I think my wife would kill me.
Oh, no, it's completely reasonable. It's completely reasonable. I was actually going to go on to that, because I'm like, oh, you know, like having a kid and stuff.
Yeah.
We don't see that in every region in the world, but in the LPL we're starting to get to the point where players are getting a little bit older to point where they're starting to start their own families, stuff like that. Cream doing a little bit of tech to start just queuing the Raptors, not actually taking any of them, but just to make sure you have that first queue. It can help you trade level 1. So the thing about the Ori versus Yone matchup, particularly level 1, very, very important, because Ori can kind of trade very heavily with W start, whereas Foxfire's point and click, just auto attack, W auto attack. The extra move speed on the W helping you kind of stick around for an extra auto means that you can sometimes get traded fairly heavily on melee matchups. Silas can suffer into this, Yasuo or Yone no different either. But Cream is doing a little bit of tech starting on the Raptors to make sure the level 1 has a bit more to fight against. And with this ward actually on enemy Raptors, you know where the Wukong is, you're not going to be surprised by that either. So OMG doing pretty okay at the level 1, very at the start of the game, to make sure that this mid matchup doesn't go tilted too quickly in the favor of the Ori.
The same information for against OMG, because you look at right now where Southwind sent up the bird up towards Raptors. No vision spotted, rather Southwind seeing it's still there, so maybe expecting a bot side pass, but at the very least, they're not going to have full tracking, on this Maokai. We get the jungle and bot kind of conversion. Yeah, this is cool. We normally get lane for lane, but both junglers and bot lane, this is new tech.
I like this a lot. I mean, the meta has been so much about bot lane for such a long time. You have to focus on this, right, to a certain extent. You got double ranged supports, which means that you don't really have any tanks in the lane, which means that people die quicker. You've got barrier used, of course, level 1 by Southwind. We kind of got used to this on the Ashe, which is why we don't really talk about it as much. It's like, you trade level 1, use that barrier to kind of give you the HP advantage, which is something which LPL bot lanes have specialized in for a number of years at this point. Just trade your HP at level 1, use your summoners to get yourself a good position. Now with both junglers on the bot side of that, see if that early trading can actually lead to any kind of fruition in these results. PP God can walk up and just make sure that they can spot out this scuttle, see if anyone had gone onto it quickly. As it stands though, Lian heading towards this mid lane instead, seeing if there's an angle in here, but spotted out by Sapling.
Yeah, so not much going to happen. Bream's just going to look for the trade while Lian comes and helps with the shove. Bot side scuttle seems to be the priority, but Lian's going to be late to the show while Arky pulls in the windows. So bot side for top side, again, it feels like as we just keep trading bits of the map, while PP God's going to get his free goal before backing off. And a nice little window to back off as well. Considering it is long sword start for Abel, he's going to get the Vamp Scepter straight off the bat too, and that on-hit bar is going to be coming through in this game. So we did talk a lot about the early bullying from RA, but again, OMG mentioned how they want to play this game out. For RA as well, walk me through a little bit about 6 here, Nightmare, because I think mid lane and jungle included, right? 6 is a pretty important benchmark.
Absolutely. The matchup in mid gets a little bit spooky as soon as Yone gets the ult, because as much as you can kite around, having that extra CC and damage makes things very, very difficult. Misstep once, either side of this matchup actually, things get very, very difficult. Where I think that will actually come to fruition though is around Herald. When you're looking at Herald the first time, Maokai, Wukong, both very, very good around that Herald, and being able to kind of cross walls, get into the fray as well. Both the Yone and the Ahri highly mobile and able to kind of pick up on those engages as well. They can follow up onto the CC which their junglers bring. So that's what I'm looking for. It's actually more like in 3 minutes, seeing what happens around them, particularly if one of these bot lanes decides to make some moves up there too.
Creed's getting close to 6, by the way. I mean, that's why I'm just kind of hovering over this mid, watching and waiting. There he goes, he gets 6 now. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I'm dying in the meantime. But
First series took it out of you, huh?
No, the chicken actually, the 25-minute break and just nomming down on half a bird, while also just partner made what can only be described as god tier vegetables. You know, like
I'm glad you had that experience.
Potato.
Maybe you'll be around for like the next chicken respawn as well. I hear that's good for junglers nowadays.
True.
Stride's going to teleport back into this mid lane. He's gone for the Ionian boosted Lucidity, which means that you're likely going to see the Everfrost build coming out, unless you're going to stop towards something like Leandry's for the Ahri. As sole AP in this team composition, when you have someone like an Ashe and a Wukong setting up for you, I feel like maybe this would have been a position to go a little bit more damage, but when you're against a matchup like the Yone, having the extra cooldown just to have your ultimate on a more of a similar time to the Fate Seal that the Yone has could be very important. You also used to see this in stuff like the Ahri versus Fizz and the Ahri's versus Zed matchups way back in like Season 3, 4, 5.
Oh, yeah.
Having the extra cooldown on your ultimate in the kill pressure lanes, it can very much help you, because as soon as you start dying in those matchups, it doesn't get better for you. It starts tilting very, very quickly. So cooldown and safety and utility valued more than the potential burst that could come out of this Ahri.
And again, you know, smart choice considering that Strive's always been a facilitating player. I think just overall in team tactics, RA have great setups with their top side. Strive is someone who can facilitate and usually set up for people like Assume. So, yeah, poke damage is starting to come through. PBGod not doing too badly here as Aki is sitting on a ward. Strive, you talked about that ulti being used, flash or ulti. One of them to come through, but Aki just backs away. That was a little bit sussage. And so I think he decided to, walk it out. He's back over the ward.
I have never heard someone say that in my life.
Dude,
Sausage?
Yeah, it's the green frog. It's the green frog with sus. It's none of that, you know.
Sausage. I thought it was like sausage without the A. Well, we'll see what happens when this meaty fight starts out.
Look at that damage, though. Aki has to flash away. Now, he doesn't have the ulti. That's why he can't re-engage. As Abel flashes over. Was that a chat move, or was that just silly?
That's not a Samira, Abel. Not quite able to do the things on Varus you can on that champion. If you're level 6, would have been very much threat with that ultimate. But both these jugglers, flash is blown on the bot side. We talked about how important this is. Both these jugglers are around Herald. Herald is spawning in 10 seconds. Of course, Dragon went over to OMG in kind of the midst of this early game, but without having those flashes around this Herald, where we were talking about these top sides potentially becoming a bit more volatile, you have to change the equation a little bit. Not having the extra flash, but particularly the Wukong to get on top of someone, maybe that changes the way that Rare Atom approach that objective, and maybe they have to now forgo that as OMG kind of step back onto the map in force.
Yeah, okay, so that's someone being down then. That's what I get from that. That's going to hurt quite a bit. And as you said, like, Dragon goes to OMG for the first one, so it means Herald can be solely focused on here before we get to the second. You can see already PBGod has moved towards mid lane, might be hovering to give a bit of priority for someone like Aki. While RA setting up for this bot lane push. I mean, you can already see this. Southwind is going to have to walk back down because, excuse me, not RA, but Abel instead. Abel's the one who's just sitting solo in bottom lane, I think, with a slow push brewing.
Yeah, looks like Rare Atom trying to cross map instead. Said that maybe, well, you know, you don't have the ultimate from Leon, you don't have the flash, so maybe don't fight around that Herald. Can you cross map though? Do you have the AD carries in the 1v1 as it stands? Leon going towards the bot side camp steals instead, getting a bit more of an individual advantage. It is a overall loss for Rare Atom if it just ends as a camp steal, but it is still getting something in what should have been an even more losing situation. How many plays can they realistically get out of this, though? Able spotted out, but he's going to lose a full wave. Going to lose maybe 2 plates on the tower, so that is Rare Atom making the most of a difficult situation when they've used that Summer and the ultimate on their jungler in that earlier play.
At least trying to get close to the second plate. Abel and PP Gold moving back into lane as Luyen is backing away, but if he spotted over a ward now, it's good damage from PP Gold again. Southwind has to burn the barrier. This Ashe now without one summoner as the return is not as good, but that's the power of Abel and PP God. We did talk a little bit about this poke in the lane, the 2v2 strength. Asim and Win still have to respect that, as especially without the Ashe ult, it feels like Chimera. It's worth mentioning that the kill threat is still greater for OMG.
Yeah, for now. Southwind, good discipline on not blowing the flash, though. That will help mitigate some of that kill threat. Stripe picking up the blue buff in this mid lane. We don't see as many blue buff transfers on the second blue buff spawn nowadays towards mid laners. I think a lot of mid laners have less mana concerns, but when you're not going towards something like a Lost Chapter very first, having that blue buff very much helps you kind of keep trading, keep clearing in wave, on the wave in mid lane. Southwind now getting back out onto the map, but because Southwind has made this rotation a couple of times, it is delaying that first arrow from coming online, where actually maybe you can fight back around mid lane a little bit more. Dashing over, dashing back.
Just Yoneing stuff, honestly. Not going to be full screen away, but attempting to play, seeing them backing away. Southwind's still not level 6.
He's hitting it on this wave, I think, if they share. He hits it there, which is a little dangerous because Cream had just used that E. No way to quickly dodge. Going on to Aki instead.
But it is Treebeard. As Charm comes through, the ult in reverse, they're going to kill him before anyone comes through, and OMG like, nah, let's leave Aki to die, and that's just going to leave the Dragon to die to R8.
That is absolutely on them. Spawn, use the ult, use the spellbook Ignite. Strive uses their point in power by picking up that summoner spell. Gets 2 stacks on the Dark Seal as well. Potential to snowball through that. Cream, not able to join that play. Maybe a little bit bold using that E and Q over the wall a little earlier, meaning that he couldn't join a potential play to bail out Aki. Aki kind of disconnected from his mid laner, gets caught out by the arrow as the spawn comes through. Of course, he used his flash, couldn't disengage from that play. So Rare Atom getting something from this early game, and we're actually getting to a very interesting point now. When we talked about compositions a little earlier as we came into the game, talked about how OMG, they need a strong laning phase performance, but they do perform well in later game team fights when they have enchanters backing up these tanks and stuff like this. So it's kind of on Rare Atom to start snowballing. This is the kind of play you need to see. It's come at a good timestamp just as you get that first arrow. There's something on the board, but this is something that we're going to need to see more of.
How come Cream and PP God just left him though, Nightmare? Like, PP God was near enough by.
Cream didn't have E. If you have that E, where you have that kind of a soul untethered, or the untethered spirit, or whatever it is, I think you can fly in and fly out. If you don't have that, though, I think you're just at risk of getting reset on by, the Cyclone second charge coming out, an extra things like that. PP God, less ability to call that one off. Maybe just worried of the resets coming in from the Spirit Rush.
Okay, well, still, Aki was left to die at the end. The kill going over to your favorite, Strive picking that up. Means we should be getting close to that first item pretty soon. I'm also being quite wary the first item's getting picked up by Jungle first. Luyen and Aki both straight to the curb as it is going to be Night Harvester coming through from Aki. As we've been talking about, we've seen a bit of everything so far. I think the Radiant Virtue's been coming through a lot. We've seen Leandri still, Demonic Embrace rush, Night Harvester 2. Like, Maokai has so many looks for a tree.
Yeah, he does. He's all the seasons of the year showed up in these mythic items. The Night Harvester, very strong one item spike. That's why we're seeing a little bit more than something like the Leandri's build. We do sometimes see, of course, that Demonic, which is also good at one item spike as well. But Night Harvester gives you something like 20, 25 ability haste. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's a load of stats on top of having a pretty good passive. Won't help you when you're taking damage, but no follow-up coming through. Arrow not going to lead to anything, though. Just a little awkward for Rat. And as we said, you need those arrows to really count. You need to see them start snowballing this game if they don't have leads to play through into the mid-game. A little bit worried for them getting engaged onto by Maokai ults and Yone is kind of flying up top of each other. And now Southwind and Asim a little bit far up here. They're not going to be punished for it.
Abel thinking about an ulti though. Remember though, Southwind's ult almost half off cooldown. Like, he already has a bit of ability haste. Plus, with his ultimate Hunter, Southland already got 1 assist over onto Arky. That's 1 stack coming through. That 6 ability haste added on top for ulti is just so valuable. So look at Southwind's ult. Dude, it's 14 minutes in the game. That's how ridiculous Ashe is right now. Did she get nerfed in 13.1 P9 Mirror? I haven't even looked at the patch notes because I've been stuck here.
I don't think Ashe got nerfed. I think
Ever?
that in the patches after 13.1b, you're getting some nerfs coming down the line for the kind of like the range support items in terms of Spell Thieves and Spectral, which are kind of like you deal damage and you get gold.
Yeah.
That's pretty big in terms of the mana regen you get on them, which means that maybe you have to take some more mana regen runes to play those supports in lane, which is actually pretty big. It means you don't have something maybe which is better for fighting if you're going towards mana regen at that point. That might hurt a little bit more, but we're not at that point yet, so it's going to deal with this for a little longer.
Well, look, at least I feel like it's soon on the horizon with LPL moving forward as this game in Jennifer's Arrow again. Oh, dude, Arky.
Whoa!
Like, the funny thing is, Arky's been the target, even if not intentionally, every single time. He's the beacon for arrows this game.
Heal on PP God makes these plays a little bit harder. No grievous wounds to try and cut through that heal summoner value. See, both these teams, again, understanding the play is about to be made. You've got Herald alive for that second spawn. You've got Dragon coming up in a minute. But every time this play extends, you are risking something like a Varus Arrow coming in, a sapling chunking someone out. Whereas they're not having any of that. If they don't have the arrow, they're not going to overforce the play. I think that's fairly okay for them. Walking into enemy-controlled objective, into those saplings. 3 of them stacked up with that big skill rush. Not the wisest decision you can make.
So Herald does go over, and we are just lulling about again in an early game. Nightmare, if it continues like this, what are your thoughts? What do you look at for mid-late game scaling?
Oh, I was thinking about what references I could kind of throw you off with. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, right.
We're getting to this point where it is getting a bit of a lull, because the more this is a non-active early game, we kind of already mentioned it, the less that happens, the better it is for OMG. You are going to get 3-2 first. Second item spikes onto your Yone. Arrow goes wide again, and so the thing is, I grew up near Sherwood Forest, near Robin Hood. I have to say I'm not that impressed by that.
Really?
Actually. Charm, a little better, but doesn't lead to anything again.
But Shanji's here, look at this. Frank the Tank jumps into the jank as Loyan gets PP got on the back end, and no one was there for Shanji. Sion's meant to smash this, and Decimating Smash is great, but I think the problem is that Cream's ulti didn't do much either. OMG are scattered weak, and Assume flashing forward. He's only a 1-item Sivir. Abel's going to get damage on the back end. That fight was a lot of something with a lot of nothing mixed in.
It was a bit of a nothing burger. There was something in there. Of course, the Dragon being forfeit, very important. The Rare Rat able to stack up 2 of them. They don't have the smite, but I think Arky kind of not wanting to jump into Rare Rat probably means that they do end up securing that despite their jungler being down. We can see part of how both of these teams want to play out, though. Rare Rat want to start the fight with a pick, use an arrow, use a charm. They did try to play towards. But if you start getting into very messy situations, Yone ult is king, Maokai ult is king, and they very nearly fell down to that, despite OMG not having their items yet. That happens in 2 items, someone's dying. Even though Cream missed that ultimate, got very close to turning it around in the back end of that fight. And we're going to go through that replay. This is after the Ashe Arrow's down. You see the charm, the Everfrost lands. That's all cool. You need a little bit more to kind of really solidify things. This is where Lian enters the picture. Been known as a bit of a buy-one trick for Split. He's been so good at it because he's been great at initiating, great at getting onto the backline, and the Wukong does something. But again, it feels like all of these bits and pieces, the Ashe Arrow, the Charm, the Everfrost, the Wukong ult coming through, they're not layered yet. That's what we really need to see. It needs to be linked together, because if RM can't do that, I think our OMG will eventually reach a point. They just outburst in the out-team fight.
And I just realized RA should have killed Shanji. You know, Shanji going in by himself, a bit scuffed, but dude, Jaksho healed him like 1/3 of his HP. That is just insane.
Balance type, by the way.
Oh my god, and it's been nerfed like 3 times.
Yeah.
But you know, we're lucky we're not getting Diana running around with Demonic Embrace on it. Like, that was the filthy part of solo queue, man. I hated every second of that.
Sunfire,
you couldn't kill
Demonic,
her.
or with a Nash's Tooth in there.
And
do you remember
she
when Yone
still
was
burst
building
you.
Sunfire?
Yeah.
That was some pretty cursed time. It's just any fighter kind of champion that can build any kind of tanky item and still do damage. There are some problems with that. Reminds me back when anyone could build Sunfire Iceborne back in Season 7. For those of you that were around for that, that was probably the most cursed time I've seen in terms of top lane builds for a while.
Dude,
Iceborne
I got
Echo, never let that return.
Rengar Kha'Zix bot lane. Dude, that was disgusting. Sunfire days, and speaking of disgusting, Cream gonna dodge away. Great little disappearing act, or whatever you want to call it. One man ulti on the Cream. Southwind is dead, and now Loyen's gonna die. Shanji ran into a dono wall, and now OMG have 2 members dead. Baron's up in 10 seconds. Why not?
Well, this is exactly what we're talking about. Whereas, if you are not connected on the way that you are making your picks, you're going to get burst out, you're going to get out Team 4. They don't land the killing blow yet again at OMG. Now they have a bit more items. They have a second item coming in on April. They have these breakpoints coming through. OMG sweep that fight, just get that first kill. Now 1 kill is enough. Jungler's down, Baron's down, OMG, they stick to their guns, and this composition, which they've played so similar archetypes to throughout this split, is starting to come online in a very dangerous way for their opponents.
Let's look at Gang, because RA keep trying to fire arrows out and not really doing much.
Yeah, they've tried to kind of play around Cream's E cooldown, that untapped spirit a couple of times before, but Cream does an awesome job of using both of his E charges in, well, E cooldowns, not charges, not charge ability, but both of his E cooldowns to get some real value out of dodging something. And in that fight, feels like Rare Adam were just kind of trying to snatch at something. It was a little bit desperate. It wasn't really set up for. But you don't have that many mistakes left in this composition now. You got one good play onto Aki with the very first arrow of the game from Southwind. Outside of that, it has really been swing and a miss.
And for OMG, though, as you said, they're in a comfortable position in this game. A minute 30 till the next dragon comes out, and RA might be stacking them up, but OMG's still so damn strong. And Big God might be caught out. There's Charm, there's Arrow this time around.
There we go.
Their support goes down. It's good, but Stride has the flash, then ulti. Shanji ram jam. Okie dokie, Southwind has the flash as well, and all of a sudden things getting difficult. Cassante tried to season 13 us, but Cube is going to have to do a lot. However, Cassante does do a lot. Little do you know, Cube is going to win this, folks, as Shanji has to run. Jackcho is in full force, and Cream might have cleaned up the back end, but that was actually a 2 for 2.
It was a 2 for 2, but remember again, this started out as a rare Atom pick. They jump forward the Everfrost with the Charm, awesome, Charm that into the Arrow. Okay, but how do you get out of that fight? They can't get to that kind of point, and now with those kills, Cream does clean up the back end. That's going to fund his Infinity Edge, I'd imagine, on this next back. I'm going to go back into the replay of how this happens. This is a better approach to this play. You catch someone out of position, they don't have a Yone E to kind of get them out of really difficult situation, but your disengage is non-existent at this point. Someone has to tank that Sion ult. Sadly for Lien, it has to be him on the Wukong, and despite Cube being such a win condition for Rare Atom in the past on stuff like Jack, stuff like Gwen, even stuff like this Cassante as well, this game, Cassante and Cube, they haven't really been able to impact it. That is the first look-in that RA's top laner has had this game.
I mean, top laners so far haven't been that impactful. Shanji on this side has covered a couple of times, missed, but that time around had a bit more of an impact himself too. So as OMG get the second dragon of theirs, we see that RA are just continuing to fall behind in this game. Arrow comes through. Cream's fine though. He's got 2 items by the way, but can he survive this with it? Well, fights away. Time being says no. Fate sealed out of there. And that gets him through, remembering that they have Baron, so he's going to be able to get back quickly and then just run back out of base.
Yep, has the shield bow, has level 14, so a lot of base HP, a lot of base resists as well. Trying to pick off this Yone, I just don't think it's the right play. I understand the need to try and escape the Yone ultimate and not get picked off from the side. Cream, notable Yone player, has played that champion to great success in this split so far, but
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
try to pick him off with these long-range skill shots. This isn't the play. They don't have the damage for it. It is, again, reeking of a little bit of desperation for Rare Atom. I think they understand they're behind the curve of the game, and if they start letting OMG just chill and don't pick them off when they find some opportunity, this game falls away from them quickly.
It's an issue that for RA, you know, in this game, like, if it continues happening with just simple trades, then, yeah, it is going to be still in the roughest position. I'm looking up to what's next. I mean, Dragon's a while away, Baron's in 2 minutes time. OMG weren't really able to do much with that last Baron play. They are 3,000 gold ahead, which means we do have 3-item Varus just hitting now as well. Abel has the within on-hit Varus that unfortunately doesn't have the flash available, but still has a Karma by his side. He's going to be a big deal as... Oh, did we see an arrow? Oh, that's nice.
We'd see it. That, wait, no, that one was literally just to stop resets. That's actually kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
So I guess there's a little bit of a tangent. Whenever you see people kind of doing like shenanigans, I suppose, to stop someone's backs, it does weigh particularly strongly on people with teleports, people with wards, and people with smites. So, like, if you actually stop PP God at this point, actually maybe it means that you don't get to sweep bad around the Baron in time for it spawning in the next minute, which of course in the last series we talked about how objective setups really were key to the second game in that series. In this one, when you have such big pick potential and the ability to pop over a wall with something like that Yone ult on the side of OMG as well, wards matter an awful lot. So stopping backs, like, it's not going to lead to anything in fruition this time, but just keep an eye on that. If PP God's not in the right position to put the right vision down, if Southman's not using his Umbral Blade on the right kind of timing to secure an area of vision, that can be a difference maker with these kind of compositions interacting.
I think when OMG have been so reliant on vision, especially in this game here, going up against an Umbral themselves, it's an important note to keep track of as Loyan's gone for this invade on top of Abel. He wants red buff. Doesn't have smite either. God, that hurts. Nice. Okay, Southwind and a 10th of an arrow.
I wonder if that should have been a pick opportunity. Maybe they were worried about Baron being started, but no flash on that Varus. Maybe he can get his ult out. No flash on Leah. Oh yeah, that's true. It's not up. Yeah, in that case, why did he go for it? Chance to kill that Varus there, I feel like. That was a really good chance to try and go for it. You saw that the Ash arrow was out. Do it. It's too dangerous to be left alive. But able to keep himself on the map, not going to be aggressed onto, and the Phantom Menace, which is the Baron, over in the fog of war, now ever so dangerously hanging over RA's heads.
Southwind needs an arrow set up for the Loyam 50-50. Baron now spotted out, it's 3k. Guys, a little bit late. TP from Shanji comes in, and this Sion has one target. Guess what? It's changed. He's got 2 targets. It's on the Southwind. Shanji doesn't care. Cat
he wants that wall! Kill that wall! Oh,
he's hit already. Well,
but like, this is exactly, again, what we were really kind of afraid of for Rare Atom, which is if you don't get good picks off, you fall behind this teamfighting composition. OMG, they have shown this composition so many times in Spring where they just kind of get to a point where they will engage on you from a mile away. They've hit their own breakpoints now. They have a Baron. All right, you've got to find something special. And he's not giving easy picks. He's got to go back to his soul.
Yeah, but he can ult this. I mean, the rest of OMG coming in. Cream. I guess he ulted
He ulted already. He ulted the very first play when they looked towards him in that jungle. Didn't have it. Then he popped his E. Probably should have just saved that E. Even if he doesn't cast that, probably lives. But as it stands, that's someone immediately taken off the board. And it's a little late, but it's still a pick. Still Rare Atom being able to get something off the board, and it's in time for the Dragon spawn. Now Cream can come back out onto the field. He will be able to teleport in before the Dragon is down, you have to imagine, but he won't have his ultimate. Rare Atom, if you're looking for the fight right now, how quickly can you get this Dragon off the table?
You got to deal with Shanji still. Remember that Cream will have teleport to come in. As you mentioned, that ult was burned, so 10 seconds till he survives, or rather comes back. Dragon still hasn't been started.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. Whisper on Acid. This, you have to finish the Dragon. You can't take the fight. Surely you can't.
Man. Zion thinks big man running in, and the steal not going to come through from Arky, but the fight looking okay as Cream's now joined back in. Look at the on-hit of Abel. Still hitting away. Strive gets shredded by this Varus as no one touching Abel. Shanji may have died though, and that's something. Sion dying in 2023 is weird.
That was actually a pretty good team fight victory for Rare Atom. I'm talking about, okay, can you actually take the fight? Turns out, yes, they can. The Black Cleaver built by Lien comes in pretty clutch here. There is actually some shred on top of the Lord Doms, or I guess it was just the last whisper for that last fight for Aston. But Dragon taken, kill taken, Baron buff kind of timed out a little bit. You look at the Baron power play in the top right. That's it's a 7 gold power play. That's not very lucrative. Actually, considering how much that seemed like a gameplay changing Baron, it's not actually led to that much. RA stabilizing well.
It's a second Baron that OMG have done absolutely nothing with. But as you said, look, the game is getting delayed still. As I realized in that fight, I was looking at the Varus doing pretty much no on-hit damage, or at least some. When on the other side, you mentioned that last Whisper. I guess assume if he has his time,
Look
so
at the
does
arrow.
Strive.
I think they're setting up for it. See if they can kick someone off.
BB God, BB God.
Oh,
Oh,
good
he's
shot.
charmed and get arrowed, and no pizza delivery from Assume. Not getting in the range. BB God's able to walk away. OMG now losing the inside track to mid as RA still have tools to engage if they want.
Yeah, but you don't have something like a Karma Shield to buff up everyone. Oh, it's a good side
Oh,
play.
Sion, baby, comes in for the flank, and RA are against the wall. Cube is now left on an island. Shanti just rolled in. He Thomas the Tank Engine that, and RA have to run.
He absolutely blitzed the backline on Rare Atom and did a really good job as well after landing that hit to not give Cube kind of like the point and click all-out escape to kind of go through him and push him back into the jungle. Did a really good job to just deny that. Cream has flash, has ultimate now. This could be a game-ending dive.
If it is, I mean, this just comes to an end quickly as Cream, never mind, it's not over. PP God is also low, so remember that as Shanti gets targeted, they have to be careful with their stand. Oh, he got charmed again. No, Mirror, you're definitely like Ari. You get excited every time the charm comes through. His Strive has another. He has another, and he has flash. I'm sensing it. Maybe my senses aren't good.
I appreciate people who can do things I can't, so when you can land skill shots like that, it's pretty
Fair
good.
enough.
Has himself 3 items. 5-0 and 3. Actually been the real instigator for a lot of
Shady,
what Rare
yeah.
Atom have been doing. Doing a good job of actually being the leading force. I thought maybe the Arrow or the Wukong could have been the kind of the champions to lead these plays, but it has been a couple of opportunistic picks, one side and then the other, to kind of keep this game in a fairly even state. It did feel to me as though OMG were in a position where they shouldn't have been losing out on this game. As soon as that first Baron came down, I thought that was just about it. And as soon as this came up, I saw the flash or the ultimate available for Cream, but it's a massive overdive. The ultimate into the spell shield from Awesome tanks up all of that damage in that spell shield. And then Strive finds the gap, kills off someone. If you don't have your Enchanter, you don't get to take the extended fights. With them off the table, things are looking pretty juicy for Atom. And as we get back into live, Strive doing so well and feeling it so much, Magi's Soul Stealer picked up 10 stacks, extra movement speed, extra mythic passive as well from the Everfrost. That's going to be an extra 10 AP on top of that too. Strive going to be in a position where he's going to be really threatening the likes of PP God and Abel if they're caught out of position.
Again, they've been so good at finding the picks. I think Strive, talk to him about him, a facilitating player. This time he's the hard carriers. Shanti's thinking about going in, but Lo Yen spotted out on the wing coming around from an angle is knocked back. That's Dante for you. They're looking for Shanti, and he has to ulti away. That Sion that used everything on is now out of the fight. I don't even mean everything. There's still so much available. RA just able to burn through him now.
Yeah, Black Cleaver coming in, Void Staff coming in with actually not that much magic resist built by the Sion. Shanji's getting to the point where actually if he's caught alone in the front line, we've seen now a couple of times, he can't really sit there. He's going to teleport back onto the map, still points full HP again. See if that can get worked through. Another shot, this is the CC combo again.
Instant repeat, and the rest of OMG are thinking about whether to go in as Cream tries to get the back line, but nothing gained. A double bounce back. Arrow comes through as well. Lo Yang gets the bounce out, strives forward as well. Look at his angle, look at this Ari, man! The move, Strive, dance on him, baby. Shanji gonna die, and he'll die a second time as well as this time around. OMG are the ones getting kaput.
That is a beautiful team fight by Rare Atom. They find another CC chain, and then they dash forward again and again. No minions on the tower, but they don't need them. Rare Atom, they stall out to a point where once again they can just team fight.
And look, Cream running in. This is so dangerous. Even with the GA goes to half as RA want to end it right here. Next is currency target, a flip back from Cube. The arrow goes through a dead body because he's in the Guardian Angel form as Cream has just done next to nothing on the Yone. Let's be real. OMG in control in the scaling seats, but when it comes down to it, I guess you can always rely on Strive.
That was a very, very clean phase of play to end that game. And Rare Atom, they walk away really impressing me. Reminded that Rare Atom, we kind of view them as this 3-2 team. They've lost 2 series. They lost to Top Esports and LNG. LNG only lost their first series yesterday. Top Esports viewed as one of our top 2-3 teams within the entire damn league. Rare Atom, this is a great game to show we don't actually